Poker players dream of winning life-changing money at the WSOP, but what if I told you that the real winner isn't at the table? You grind for days, outlast thousands of players, and finally ship that massive payday, only to watch a huge chunk disappear before it even hits your bank account. Taxes on poker winnings can be brutal, and depending on where you live, they might make or break your career. Today, we're diving into the shocking truth behind poker taxes, how much you really get to keep, the loopholes pros use to save millions, and what happens if you avoid the taxman. It's often said that two things in life are certain: death and taxes. One of the most fascinating and often unpleasant aspects of the WSOP main event is witnessing how much of the huge prize pool goes to the taxman. Taxes are not really set in stone, but it takes some skill to get the best deal possible. An American citizen must pay tax on any amount he or she wins at the WSOP, no matter how small the amount is. For a citizen from another country, the income tax will be perceived on any amount that reflects a net win of $5,000 in a tournament. From $5,000 up, an American will receive a W-2G form, while players from other countries will receive a 1042S form. US residents are taxed at 24% on any winnings exceeding $5,000. This is the federal tax and is withheld automatically, while winners still have an obligation to report and pay the state tax on their own. For someone from another country, if his country does not have a fiscal treaty with the USA, the rate of taxation on the winning will be 30% of his net win. So, a winner only gets 70% of his money, along with a Form 1042S stating the amount won, the net amount, and the federal tax deducted. But you still have to pay whatever the tax is in their country, be it 0%, 50%, or anything in between. Some countries, to avoid this double taxation, have included in their tax treaty with the USA some provision exempting their citizen from a 30% tax. If you come from one of these countries, you will have to bring a W-8BEN form filed up. By bringing this form to the cashier to collect your winnings, the WSOP will be able to issue you an individual taxpayer identification number and give you the full amount won. If you are from one of these countries and do not provide the WSOP with either a W-8BEN or an ITIN, they will have to deduct 30%. You will be able to retrieve the 30% left behind by filing with the IRS at the end of the calendar year, explaining your legal exemption. The runner-up in the 2014 WSOP main event, Felix Stephenson, was awarded $5.1 million as a result of his efforts. He had to pay more than 50% in tax because he was from Norway and listed his occupation as a professional poker player. Martin Jakobsen, who beat Stephenson in the heads-up battle, took home $10 million. Martin, who was born in Sweden and has lived in the United Kingdom for a long period, was subject to UK taxation. In the UK, poker winnings are not taxable, so Martin got to keep the entire $10 million. Corey Aldemir, winner of the 2021 WSOP main event, paid zero tax on his $8 million winnings after he relocated from Germany to Austria. Aldemir benefited from the US-Austria tax treaty, which means his income is exempt from withholding by the IRS. Austria also does not tax poker winnings for its residents. Had he stayed in Germany, he would have to pay a whopping 46% of his winnings to the German tax authority. Hossein Ensan from Germany, who was the winner of the 2019 WSOP main event, found this the hard way. Hossein's German Wikipedia page notes that he immigrated from Iran and is listed as a professional poker player. Whether he's a professional or an amateur makes a huge difference for taxes. In 2017, the Federal Fiscal Court ruled that professional poker players must pay income tax on their net winnings, while amateurs do not have to pay income on their winnings. Assuming Mr. Insan was subject to income tax, he lost a whopping $4.6 $6 million to the German tax authorities. That's the reason why many German poker players reside in the UK to avoid the high German taxes. In 2024, Jonathan Tamayo won a $10 million advertised prize, but after taxes, his actual winnings amounted to just over $6 million, essentially the same as a second-place payout. Meanwhile, Jason Segel, Nicholas Asted, and Mellow Latinos hail from countries where poker winnings are typically tax-free. As often happens, some players take home more money than those who finish ahead of them. Last year, Boris Angelov of Bulgaria benefited the most, keeping 90% of his 2.5 million winnings, more than Jason Segel, despite finishing one spot lower. This is due to Bulgaria's tax treaty with the US, which exempts his winnings from withholding, leaving him with just a 10% income tax. The biggest tax hit goes to Spain's Andres Gonzalez, who stands to lose nearly half of his $2 million prize pool, potentially facing a 47% income tax rate. Overall, $11.5 million of the $31 million prize pool was taxed, with the US IRS collecting $8.6 million. So if you're serious about pursuing a poker career, this is something you should consider about ahead of time. Where you reside may have a significant influence on your overall earnings and can even determine whether you are a winning or losing player. If anyone thinks they can avoid the taxman's scrutiny, they should consider the case of Spanish poker professional Dragan Kostic. Kostic earned a substantial 532,000 euros as the runner-up in the 2011 EPT Barcelona main event, but failed to report it on his tax return. His oversight was discovered by the Spanish authorities, who checked the Hendon Mob website. As a consequence, Kostic faced an 18-month prison sentence, a 400,000 euro fine, and a back tax billing exceeding 230,000 euros. If you are a full-time pro who attends the WSOP every year, paying 30% or more on your earnings will have a significant influence on your ROI. And if that's not enough, you still have to pay the rake in every event. You've undoubtedly noticed a discrepancy between the final prize pool of any WSOP tournament and the buy-in and number of entries. Although the prize pool could be larger, a portion of each buy-in is withheld to fund organizing costs. You'll have to pay rake, a lot of it, especially if you enjoy live poker. It requires money to run live games. The organizers must cover the dealers, cards, chips, and other miscellaneous charges, as well as generate some money to make it all work. The bigger the buy-in, the lesser is the rake, so you technically get better values from high buy-in tournaments. The simple truth is, while playing in the WSOP, you will have to factor in rake and taxes, so be prepared ahead of time.